Hey guys, so we're in Arizona. We left New Mexico, headed out across the desert and through Tucson up in Phoenix. Visited with one of our friends up there and we stayed at Sundial RV Resort. It's a nice enough place. It's exactly what you would expect for a campground that is smack in the middle of Phoenix. So not a ton of amenities, but it was a comfortable place to stop over. And it definitely did the job. We did have a little bit of an adventure while we were there. So I came out of the camper one morning and the lady in the next campsite over, or well, she was standing in the next campsite over, yells at me. I look over and the front steer tire of the Class A in the site across from us is on fire. So
pretty good fire too. It was actually rolling out of the wheel well up over the side of the RV time we saw it.
She had dumped her bottle of water that she had on it and she was now out of water, and she's like, I think it's out, but from my angle I could see it definitely was not out. It was still on fire on the back side of the tire. And so I opened the door to the camper. I told Ryan, get the fire extinguisher. He threw me his keys to get the bigger fire extinguisher. By the time he got outside, the tire was pretty fully engulfed in flames and starting to melt a little bit of the plastic shrouding on the RV. We did get it put out, called the fire department. It turned out that the gentleman who lived in that RV had left a trash can of cigarette butts up against the base of the tire.
Kind of tucked in under the tire in the front of the RV, you know. On the Class A, it's a big square nose and there's a space there.
And unfortunately, he had not gotten that one of those cigarettes fully extinguished when he put it in there. And he had left for work for the morning and it did catch on fire. Luckily, it was caught very early by this lady who was from a couple campsites over who had been out on her morning walk, and we were able to hit it with fire extinguisher pretty quickly. There wasn't a lot of damage. He obviously was going to need a new tire, and there was a little melting of the plastic, but it was nothing that made it, you know, unusable or unlivable. He was extremely thankful. He did replace our fire extinguisher for us.
Definitely a lucky catch, because we are trying to stay on more of an East Coast time schedule. So this happened at like 5:30, quarter to 6 in the morning.
Very early in the morning.
We could not even wake up the camp host. Sue was beating on their door trying to get them to wake up. So the campground is very quiet.
Very quiet.
Other
than when we called the fire.
I'm going to surmise another minute or two, the way that tire was, you know, burning, and the flames are going up through the wheel well, and the plastics of the RV were starting to deform. I think another minute or two, it would have been bad. And so
it was definitely getting going fast. So he was very, very thankful. We're also very thankful. Just a reminder, check your fire extinguishers. Luckily, I do glance at ours fairly often, make sure it's still in the green. And even if they are, they really should be replaced about every 4 or 5 years. And this one actually
maybe even more often than that.
Maybe even more often than that. But replace them often, check them often. And, you know, fortunately, this one did work when we needed it to, and we did have a backup in case it hadn't. But just a reminder to be really, really careful with flammables, especially in hot areas, but really anywhere.
So speaking of hot areas, how warm was it in Phoenix that day?
It was 109, which...
and how cold was it last night here where we're at now?
I believe it got down to 48 here.
Yeah, so we're in Munds Park, Arizona, which is what, probably 20 miles from Flagstaff? South of Flagstaff?
About 20 miles from Flagstaff and about
10,000 miles straight up for the last mile drive. It's on Highway 17, and it's a climb. It's about 11 miles at, I think, a 6% grade getting to Munds.
It was a pretty brutal climb. There were a lot of vehicles parked on the shoulder that had not made the pass. So.
We were behind a Swift truck, I think. We were behind some trailer. No, it wasn't Swift. It was a flatbed trailer truck that merged onto the highway at the bottom of the hill, never got over 38 miles an hour. So we stayed behind him and just ran in third gear. It was comfortable. We had a whole line of trailer trucks.
Anyway, we're going to get going on our hike, and we'll bring you back if we see anything cool on this hike. And if not, we'll see you at Meteor Crater.
So it looks like one of these is an ATV trail, one's a hiking trail. You could probably hike both, but They do this to limit you to 62 inches wide, which is kind of neat. They leave room for mirrors and stuff, which is sometimes the problem on the other trails. But hey guys, so we're about a mile into our hike. We're on a ATV trail. You can see it behind us there. There's a ton of ATV trails around here.
Really a neat location if you want to bring an ATV or rent one.
Yeah, there's a rental place right by our campground. And we'll show you the campground on the way back, but we're staying at Munds Park RV Resort. And Munds Park is the town. So don't pull into the church like I did with the camper thinking, because it says Munds Park. I'm like, hey, we're at the campground.
Hey guys, today we're at Meteor Crater in just outside of Flagstaff, Arizona.
Winslow, Arizona. It's 15 miles that way.
We'll see if we can get Ryan to stand on a corner. Maybe sing us a little song.
You don't want that. I'm going to turn you guys around and just give you a little shot of the crater. So this is from the first observation deck, just outside the museum, I guess it is. It's quite deep. There's actually a plane fuselage in the middle of it too. Well, not in the middle, but over. It was my finger. Over in there somewhere. Don't know if it actually crashed here or if they threw it in there, but
I was kind of impressed by the steepness of the sides of it and the depth. I thought it was going to be a little more flat than it is.
Yeah. Cameras don't always do it justice, but yeah, you can kind of see. I'm going to guess that white spot down in the middle is probably 400 to 500 feet deep. And if I had to venture a guess, I'm going to say we're probably half a mile, 3/4 of a mile across. So we'll see if we can find you some information on it. But yeah, Sue's going to check out the telescope. All right.
There's a spaceman down there.
There is. I think I got a picture of it. So I was off by quite a bit. 700 feet deep and 3/4 of a mile across. And as you can see, there is plenty of parking. It's a nice, big rig friendly, yeah, get my finger out of there. Big rig friendly parking lot down there where you can get your camper in. So you could stop here on your way. It's probably something that you want to allot 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how much you really want to do.
If you want to do the whole interactive ride, and there is also a guided tour, probably hour and a half.
Right up there. So yeah, you could certainly do this as you're passing through. So
we're headed back towards Flagstaff now, and you should be able to see that there's a little bit of snow up on those mountain peaks. And if you look at the truck thermometer, 101. The ice cream at the ice cream store is really good. We had that the night we got here.
So this is the main entrance to phase 1. Your general store and everything is down in here, your laundry, your pool. So we'll just ride around the store and back out, and we'll show you the rest of it.
And the general store is the only grocery type store for the entire town. Otherwise you have to go into Flagstaff. So if you are going to stay here, do plan ahead and make sure you have your grocery needs taken care of. You saw there's a nice little pool with a hot tub. Are all seasonal RV sites. And then as you continue down that way further, it turns into little tiny homes, but we're going to loop back around through the rest of the seasonal campers.
Some of these on our right may not be seasonal. Some of these off to the right may be, just nightly, based on the license plates and the lack of a lot of extra stuff around.
But by the time we booked, we ended up out in, I believe it's phase 3, which is the new
phase 4?
I thought phase 4 was the new tiny homes.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that might be right. Still in construction in some places.
Yeah, it's not finished, but they do take Passport America, so I believe our site here was $30 a night with our Passport America.
Yeah, 50 amp water and sewer. Our site is a back end. They do have some that are pull through.
But most in this area are back in.
And we'll just drive right around the block. Some new tiny homes on your right.
You can see it's a pretty busy place already, even though this is the new addition. And I think Ryan would agree with me when I say this is a beautiful area, especially if you're trying to get out of the heat of Phoenix and you don't want to pay the high prices in Sedona. This is a perfect compromise, and you are only about a 45-minute drive from Sedona.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the hotels in Sedona, I don't know about campgrounds, but the hotels go from $250 a night to $1,000 a night in Sedona. And you can go either way to get to Sedona from here, and it's about the same drive either way. So you could make a 45-minute drive north and back around, and then you could come home the other way, so you get to see even more. Kind of cool. Definitely ATV friendly.
Yeah,
Dog
there's
park over there.
a huge ATV and Jeep following in this park. They're absolutely everywhere. And we did go up and walk one of the little trails this morning. And had a nice little hike. Did see an ATV on the trail, and they have like 105 miles of dedicated ATV trails out there in the woods. You can ride right through town to get to them, so you don't have to haul from the campground.
So the white fence to your right is between the original campground, I guess you'd say phase 2, 3, and 4 over here. So that white fence is the dark one. Concept of the fence. Over here you can have lights on. That'd be unless they're directly pointed down, I guess. I don't really know all the rules. And we're the last campsite down on this side, which is kind of nice because we only have one neighbor instead of two. But they're pretty spacious. I mean, as you can see, it's not, you can't reach out and touch your neighbor. There's a little bit of space between them at least. So we're gonna go check on dog, and well, maybe we'll bring you back from, I don't remember where it is. Our next stop in Arizona. It's a KOA.
Yep. It's a KOA in Kingman, Arizona.
Kingman, there you go. So that's kind of your 50-cent tour of Munds. How's that? So we'll bring you back from our next stop in Arizona, which is KOA, and then we're off to Las Vegas. So we'll be back.